Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio and the Spiritist Society of Virginia. We're here together. The Spiritist Center is bigger than it's ever been. It's everywhere, spread out in the U.S., in the world, because not only we're here at Kardec Radio, but because we are in our homes, in your home, in my home, everyone's homes. So the good spirits are partying up. Why? Because they now can enter our homes. And this is huge. If you ask, do the bad spirits like it? Of course not. Because that's where they really play their games, in our homes. Not only, but mostly. That's where we cultivate who we are. Today, we are invited to a topic that has everything to do with the Medium's book. It's spirit manifestations in our lives. Whether we're mediums, ostensible mediums or not, we all feel the presence. We feel the pressure, especially during the pandemic. And we want to understand how it is so we can live better. It is important to understand, to maximize the quality of our lives. For us, for those who have children or work with children, it is essential to understand that children may already show signs of mediumship, and we need to understand what it is to help them out. Yes, and help them navigate through the waters of mediumship. It's inevitable. Everything begins in the mind, in our emotions, but it can be manifested in the material plane. So welcome, friends. Keep joining us because today we have a lot to share with you. But before we begin with our prayer, our friend Camila is here with us. Hello, Camila. How are you?
Hello, Vanessa. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being with us, Camila. We are ready for the first medicine of the night.
Yes, thank you. Welcome, friends. Tonight, we will read a message by the Spirit May May, psychographed by Chico Xavier. The message is called Keep on Blessing. Each of us follows a different path to be in harmony with God. Thank the road where the world points you to and continue blessing. Bless the group of hearts you were born into. It is with them that the forces of creation build the foundation of your ongoing existence. Bless your body that serves as a vehicle for this journey, for in it you possess a temporary dwelling to act on towards the conquest of your evolution. Bless your work that has been reserved for you. It is in the tasks you perform that you embrace the best values of an experience. Bless your joys. They are sources of inspiration that will give you courage and strength along the way, so you do not fade away in the march. Bless the trials that visit you, for it is in difficulties where you work the most on your self-improvement. Bless the problems that come your way. It is through challenges and obstacles in your path that you perfect your understanding. Bless your friends. They are levers that offer you balance and security. Bless your opponents. They play the role and functions of inspectors, making you aware of the dangers and risks along the journey. Bless your difficult relatives. They are opportunities to learn patience and humility, understanding and tolerance. Bless those who become instruments of temptation. While in the terrestrial plane, we have them as resources that reveal to us our weaknesses and imperfections that may still seem as blemishes, compelling us to exercise kindness and forgiveness towards others. Give thanks to the way the world offers you opportunities for growth, and remember that God always blesses you. So keep on blessing too.
Thank you so much, Camila, for bringing us this beautiful message by the Spirit Made Me. It's in the Spiritist magazine as well, and you can access it in our free app, Spiritist Magazine, or the website, spiritistmagazine.org or .com. Right now, we invite you to pray with us. We're going to pray not as a ritual, but as a way for us to connect with one another at a deeper level with God and collectively enter a new frequency where we're going to be receiving the teachings, the medicine, the therapy for our souls. This is a moment for therapy as well. So let's join the good spirits who are waiting for us so they can proceed with what we need. Dear Mother, Father God, the universe is yours. And we are created by you, sustained by you. But you made us your co-creators. We don't know anything anywhere with your generosity, your mercy. But we have a long way to feel the goodness from you. For we still see you, sometimes punishing in our minds, which doesn't make any sense. We are afraid of your loss because we don't understand you yet. That's why we need your messengers. We recognize our need for the teachers of the beyond. We recognize our need to deepen our understanding of you and of your beautiful universe, so orderly, so loving. All you do is lead us into a new educational process. Today, we would like to immerse ourselves into the lessons of the Medium's book by Kardec and other books that came along through the medium Chico Xavier. But we want to absorb something that we haven't absorbed yet. May we be permeable to the teachings, to the medicine, and may everyone who is connected to us feel the blessings and the opportunity. May our homes receive the shower of your healing light, and the obstacles that present themselves, we know they are not here for long. We know that they are here temporarily, for any suffering has a deadline. May we stay under your guidance, feeling your protection, as you grant us the permission for this moment of learning, of serving, of being treated as well. And so be it. All right. So here we have our friends who help us in this moment. Today we're going to talk about the spirit manifestations in our lives. So let me share a slide or two, just so we keep in mind the planning for us today. We're talking about Kardec's book, The Medium's Book. The Medium's book came along in 1861. Yes, this year, precisely, we're celebrating. Yeah, it's an anniversary, right? 1861, 2021, and here we have the Medium's book, opening an opportunity for us to know more about ourselves. Some people think that this book is only for mediums. No, it's for everyone because we're all mediums. So we need to know what to do with it and to visualize our lives as two worlds together. So today, as we are studying it, we want to actually invite you to a thought. Let us think. Where is mediumship in your life? Some people are like, Vanessa, I don't care. I don't want to know. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of spirits. Okay. So, all right. So let us have this conversation here, one-on-one, right? All right. Sorry. All right. Let's talk about this. Are you a medium? I don't know. I don't think I'm a medium. I don't want to know. I'm afraid. Can't escape from it. From now to immortality, we need to put our hands on it. I remember when a friend came to me when I was very young, still young, but much younger. And then this friend said, with his experience, Vanessa, work on your mediumship. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. This is something I'm immersed in science. Vanessa, if I were you, I would. I said, okay. He said, just read the books, do the courses. And I did it. Thank God I listened because I probably wouldn't be here. So sometimes we need a friend to give us a push because sometimes we're so young, so into the material life, even though as a spiritist, sometimes we're there in the center, like I was in the center, working in the center, but not anything related to it. So this friend very wisely said, read about it, study it, go to study groups on it. And he was right. Because then you find out that many things that happen in our lives happen because of our non-educated mediumship. And some are going to encounter that through their own children. When they're going to see mediumistic abilities sprouting their children. But why wait to troubleshoot, right? We don't need to go on a bump-to-bump road in life. Stopping all troubleshooting. Now I'm going to pay attention. You and I are here to know before problems happen because we can prevent them. Why not? Think about in 7 billion people on earth who are incarnated. How many are spiritists? Millions, based mostly in Brazil, the people who are spiritists in Brazil, in Colombia, the second largest spiritist country in the world, and then other countries. But of these few millions, in billions, few millions, then we have us who speak English. Less than 1,000, and we're being optimistic. If we don't know, Jesus is counting on you and I to know and share so others can come along and live a better life. When we talk about spirit manifestations in our lives, let's go here to the Medium's book, chapter 2, the extraordinary and the supernatural. And this is in the first part 1, okay? When he talks about a summary, he says to us, amongst other things, Spiritism recognizes that these phenomena, spirit phenomena, have nothing extraordinary or supernatural. Why? Because he says, we may not know the causes, but we in Spiritism, we understand that they belong to nature. When we see animals and people and we understand the science behind it, we're talking about the spiritist science explaining to us what happens to us as spirits. You and I are spirits in the spiritual realm, connected to the physical body through the spiritual body. But you and I now are not here exactly. We're connected to this body and coming here, but we are beyond it. When other spirits come along, incarnates or discarnates, I interact first, mind to mind, perispirit to perispirit, and then the physical body may feel it or not. We interact daily as we go to sleep. We daily encounter discarnate and incarnate spirits in the spiritual realm. And we may come back from the sleep time without any memories, which we call dreams. But that doesn't mean we haven't interacted. Sometimes we recall. Sometimes we are cooking and we perceive the presence. Some presence. Sometimes a plate falls, a glass breaks, or a perfume that is very soothing comes, or a good sensation, very calming. We're not alone. How often are we surrounded by spirits? Kardec asked this question. It's here in the Medium's book as well, but in the Spirit's book. When he asked the question, what kinds of spirits are always surrounding us? 4 types. So 4 types of spirits are with us. The first type, we have the protecting spirits with us. Protecting spirits, they are always superior. They're always connected with us. Whether we're perceiving their connection or not, is like children. When people say, but Vanessa, I don't perceive my guardian angel. I don't perceive my protecting spirits. It's like children. They are playing. Look at little kids. They are playing and they don't notice where the parents are. When they realize, Mom, and the mom is right there. Dad, the dad is right there. So when we have to mature spiritually, to grasp that they have always been there, always. But we need to grow spiritually to perceive their presence. And the second type of spirits that are always with us, familiar spirits. Who are they? They are spirits who know us, who like us, some even love us, We have had a relationship with them in previous lives, sometimes in this life, but not necessarily they are more evolved than us. And that's something we need to pay attention, because sometimes they are less evolved. And as they are less evolved than us, they may play a role in our lives. If they are more evolved, they can help us. Read the book and life goes on. We're going to see Evelyn and Ernest coming back to see their families and playing a role to help them. Are they super more evolved? No, but they are aware that for their own redemption, they need to help their family members. And they are playing a good influence over the family's lives. So this is the second category. First, the protecting spirits. The second, familiar spirits. The third, sympathetic spirits. They are not pathetic. They are sympathetic. What does that mean? They like what we like. If I like good news, I go there. Good News Network, positive news. Yes, go to your Facebook or Instagram or your Google and positive news. Good News Network. They all exist. There are so many of them. In many newspapers, they have open sections only for good news. The good spirits like good news. But some spirits, they like terrible news. Morbid. It's morbid, right? And if we watch it, they are with us. We like gossip, they like gossip. We like reading, they like reading. We like playing music, they like it. We like drawing, they like drawing. So every time we should ask, I'm doing this, what kind of spirit's going to be with me? If I am indulging when I eat, super indulging, what kind of spirits are with us? So we're learning to discern as we ask this question. The third kind of spirit that is with us of affinity. If we love Spiritism, what kind of spirits will be with us? The ones who love Spiritism. And usually they want to evolve. So it's good company. But the fourth type of spirit is usually the one that we think is constantly in our around us. The obsessors. But not only the obsessors can create problems in our lives, sometimes a sympathetic spirit that is with us because of bad habits, addictions, they turn into obsessors. Or a familiar spirit who is not very evolved and takes sides in our daily struggles and go there and complicates things for us. So we need really to raise our vibrations to have a better network and understand how our lives are being constantly influenced by spirits all the time. If we behave with good nature, we are going to attract good spirits. So that's the law of the mental field that André Luiz says to us. To attract good spirits in our lives, we need to be of goodwill, to have good thoughts, good feelings, say good words, and do good actions. And then certainly in our network, we're going to look at the network contact list. Good, wonderful spirits, marvelous spirits. And then the ones that are not, we're here to help. To understand more about it, let us go deeper into seeing and understanding spirit manifestations. They are of two types. Kardec explains in the Medium's book. Manifestations of physical effects and manifestations of intelligent effects. I won't say more because we have here Luciana and Carol who help us in that regard. Luciana is here with us to help, right, Lu?
Right. So as we go marching forward to learn a little bit more and deeper, as Vanessa explained to us, Kardec brought us this beautiful information and all the questions that we had through the Spirit's book. He brought us answer, and we do need to know more, right? We need to know more about this medianistic uh, tools that we have, because we are all mediums. So we need to apprimorize us and see how we can use this mediumship that is there. And if we don't know, if we don't educate, we may have bad use. So we're going to study chapter 2 from the Medium's book. And this chapter 2, one second. Okay, you can see, right? Yeah. So chapter 2 from the Medium's book is talking about physical manifestations. And these physical manifestations to us is very important for us to understand and see, because there are many. As we go around life, we can see and we can actually study about mediums that had so much of this type of a manifestation of mediumship. So it's important for us to learn, to start learning with the medium's book. And later, we will bring the teachings from the in the realms of mediumship on chapter 28, that is also talking about the physical manifestations. So let us go together. And here's the book. This is the book, the Medium's book, and we're going to start on chapter 2. And on item 60, Kardec starts saying, we give then the term physical manifestation to those phenomena which impress our sense, such as the production of sound and movement and displacement of solid bodies. So we can already start grasping, right? Everything that is moving. So we can hear noises, objects moving around, instruments that start playing by themselves, materialization of spirits that comes to this mediumistic meeting. We have the direct writing and the healings. There are many types of this phenomenon. But in this topic, we are focusing the turning tables, in which was the first, right, that was calling attention to spiritism. And at that time, it was really important to have such a manifestation in order to wake in us and all the scientists this awareness of the spiritual realm. Because we were living life as normal, only thinking about of this type of life, the material life. But then the spirits have to manifestate like this, moving tables, moving objects, to let people on this realm know that life goes on and there is a spirit moving, right? The tables. That's what we learned afterwards, because in the beginning they didn't understand what was this that was causing the moving of the tables. But we knew that Kardec, as a great scholar, he wants to search about it. That's when he starts to developing his teachings, to be there and catalog everything that was happening. So those are the beginning of the physical manifestation. So anything that moves, makes noise, right, and displays from one place to the other. And then we continue on 61, that in order to produce this phenomenon referred to, the presence of one or two persons endowed with the special attitude. So we need to have a medium that has the capability to have this type of energy. And this energy is produced in our body, right? And when we go to those meetings, the ectoplasm is liberating from the medium in order to have this manifestation of a table moving or a spirit to materialize right there. So it's necessary to have some medium of this type of manifestations, because as we know, we have many different types of mediumship. But in order for a mediumistic meeting happen in this way, you need to have a specific medium. And of course, it's necessary that people are aligned and educated, because we know that it's very important that the medium prepare themselves to do the service, because it is a service, right? At the time that the book was written and coming, we were starting to catalog and starting to have a way to educate us to practice these meetings. So now, after many years, we know more because Kardec cataloged and gave us information. But like before, they didn't know, right? They got together, they want to do all this manifestation, but they didn't know. But today we know that we have to prepare, and we need to be serious about any type of mediumistic meeting, because we want to be a tool, an instrument from the spiritual realm. We don't want to give them trouble. And even though when we try so much to be this instrument, to be a good tool for the meeting, sometimes the little thing that we didn't adjust can make it harder for the spirits. But they are equipped, they are prepared, they have a lot of things and they know how to work. But it's important for us, as we learn, as we progress, that we need to prepare ourselves to help. And the other participants, they are there, and normally uh, we will collect energies of everybody that is around, but it's important that like they also think and be mindful when they are in these meetings, because as we will see in the case study that we will present later on, we can see that this can interfere. In this part they said it doesn't really interfere as much, but we can see when Andrea Lewis bring to us in the in the realms of mediumship in this book, in the case that we will see in a little bit, he brings to us that the interference of the people that come to these meetings actually can disturb the the seriousness and the quality of the meeting. So we always need to be mindful when we go into the center, wherever we go. We need to be very mindful, knowing that as we are here with the physical body, there is a lot of spirit mentors around us, around the center, guiding and making things to be into place. So on the 62, there is no outward indication of the mediumnimic faculty. Experience alone is the true indicator of its experience, its existence. And then later on, they say it's necessary to have patience, because at that time, as Kardec was cataloging there, sometimes could take minutes, hours, seconds for the manifestation to happen. But this is because there was not as much as a schedule or instruction. It's better instruction to how to prepare for this meeting. So in the past, in Paris, we knew, right, people will gather together to see this phenomena, something that was new, and they almost was there as entertained. They want to see what is going on, they want to see the tables turning, but they didn't prepare themselves to actually using this type of physical manifestation in order to help the other, right? Because it's very important to use these tools, to use the mediums to do something good. But at that time, that wasn't that the focus. So we have to learn, and we are learning now, and we can see serious meetings in Brazil, especially as we have the greater number of spiritism. We already can see other meetings being able to practice this with more seriousness, and helping many brothers and sisters of ours that are going there for surgeries, going there to receive some treatments. But it's all because we were able to trim and align ourselves with the guidance of the spirits, and not doing the other way around. And as Kardec continued to bring us this information about the physical manifestations, so it comes to us that there's no importance of the form of the table, of the jewelers, no matter what it was, because the spirits could manifest. It only was depending on the medium. So if the medium is powerful, they can lift the table alone. Like sometimes they have a current, like we can see people sitting around, but sometimes only one of them is the medium that are actually able to make the movement of the tables. So this is what Kardec comes and bringing to us on item 63, that we need one great medium, one medium to be able to move the objects and show what's going on. But we need to be aligned. And if you're a superpower of medium, they say they can lift even bodies of people, table, different items that are heavy for us to think about it. And he continues in saying that there is other types of this phenomena in which is that the tables can make noise, right? Inside, like we were here, like sometimes we hear the wood cracking in the house, but in that time when they were doing this meeting, they could see everybody was there watching, and you could see that nobody is doing anything in touch, but the tables inside the wood was like moving, and there was vibration on the table. And thinking about, is that something that can happen, right? A table could do this by itself? No. So we come to know that these are the spirits acting upon the material, right, on the table or in something, to show that they are able to move, because the table itself cannot have a this type of action, cannot move around, come here and go to other place. This is all due to this physical manifestation of a medium. And for us to understand more about all these phenomena, in which is very interesting, and I invite you to go and look and study the medium's book, in which there's so many information for us, especially us that are here in the United States. There are minority that speak English and has these books in hand. Let us take advantage and go to the medium's book and read and learn, so we can actually be this tool and help the good masters, the good spirits, and help the whole planet, right? Because this is our goal, to work together. So then André Luiz, in the realm of the mediumship, he comes in chapter 28, bringing us the example to what happened to a medium in the spiritual realm. So we have the images from the Project Imaging, that bring very clear to us these informations. And André Luiz was having a whole week of studies when they were writing about this book. And they want to finalize bringing them to this type of meeting, the physical mediumships. They want to show them what happened. And of course, André Luiz was very curious, and thank God he was curious, because all this book came in hand to us, and we know and we learn every time that we read André Luiz, we learn much more, and we can proceed So they were preparing themselves for this meeting. And as we see people around, and the ones in the closed area is actually the meeting being prepared. And we can see instruments that we don't even see in planet Earth yet. But those instruments are preparing the place where we're going to have the meeting. And that's why it's important for us to remind when we go back to the center. Remember, we always say it is a hospital. We are treating spirits in need, right? We treat in both realms. So this is good for us to visualize and to pay attention how we enter the center when we go back with respect, because they are always working. We might not be going there now, and when we go back, we go twice or once a week, but we need to have this reference that knowing that is always something going on. They're always working and preparing. So there is these instruments, there is this type of treatment happening 24/7. So we are the ones in color, right, from this picture. So we need to be mindful and vibrate high when we go to the center, trying to help the mentors there, they're working, the medium that is there. And in this case, he's coming to do a specific meeting of materialization to help people that are sick. But people are going there, right? A lot of friends, a lot of people that we know, they come to the center by curiosity. They just want to know what's going on. And this can actually not helping the treatment to go through all the way that could. Yeah. So the meeting was prepared, the room was getting prepared, and everything was ready. So we can see, right, that the ectoplasm is coming out of the medium. It normally comes from our mouth, the big opening of our mouth, our ears, our nose, and the tip of the hands. So this fluid, kind of milky, comes out and start to give, it can give forms to a spirit, give forms to anything that the spirit's guides wanted to do. But we need to be this good medium to bring good fluids, because we had the fluids, they mentioned fluid A, fluid B, and fluid C. Fluid A is the ones coming from the spiritual realm. Try bringing from the spiritual realm to work at this meeting. Fluid B is the one that the medium are actually giving, providing for this meeting. And it needs to be very well prepared in order to be very well used, because it's almost like the dirty waters. We wanted to have something clean, so we prepare ourselves to help more. And then we have the fluids C, in which are the fluids that come from nature. So there all this dynamic going on. It's not something very simple, right? Oh, okay, it's gonna happen. There's so much going on. There's a lot of work in the spiritual realm to bring this manifestation to place. And we play a part, very big part, because we are the ones incarnated and they need this fluid for us to help. And in this case, the medium, it wasn't very well prepared, because the mentors have a big plan for that, but because he was not very well prepared, they were able to have the materialization of a nurse, in which she came and was able to help healing the people that were sick and in need. So we can see this nurse being materialized and applying the passes, applying the healing energy that this sister of ours were in need at the time. And as mentioned before, we can see these two people there, and we see like these gray and colorful thoughts coming through and reaching to her, right? So this is the thoughts that we have, and then can help or can be not very helpful during this meeting. So They even mention in the book that sometimes she would have to stop this nurse to be there because of the vibration that the people watching was sending. But in the end was successful because the doctors and the nurses of the spiritual realm, they know how to help and work very well, even that we sometimes try our best and not super well prepared, but they have all the tools and they can actually help to have this meeting to flow better. So they were able to help then, even though that our friend was not super prepared for the meeting. And then towards the end, as people came to this meeting as curiosity, they want to see, right? Meeting manifesting something big and good. They brought flowers. And see, the people were shocking of seeing this materialization of flowers. And they were happy, and it's good for us to see that even though we go to this meeting and sometimes the thoughts form and what we are thinking are actually not being very helpful for the process, but the spirit is always loving and caring, and they also brought them some flowers, some information for them to see. So everything there is a order in both realms. And as we grow and as we learn more about how to deal with mediumship, we can better prepare ourselves to be a good tools in the hands of the good mentors. And before the meeting finished, we could see that the medium was able to materialize another spirit, and we can see this oven, right, the stove with this pot, and this pot they have like paraffin, the ones that make candles, and the spirit materialize and dip their hands in there so he can leave a proof of a spirit materialization for the people that went there to watch, because people want to see the result, they want to see things. And this is what happened in this meeting. So there's a lot of going on, there's a lot of preparation of both realms, and the more that we prepare in the physical realm, the more we can actually do, because we need to take this meeting serious in order to help more. Not taking, not doing those meetings for fun, not doing for entertainment, but we could use this for many good final objects. Like we can have different goals, good goals, to help humanity, to help our community. We could help a lot if we were serious and take responsibility to prepare ourselves for the meeting. And to finalize here, we have Chico Xavier and Peixotinho, that which was a medium in Brazil, very famous. We talked about him before. That he was one of the greatest medium in Brazil, that he was able to materialize spirits. He also was able, with his fluid, right? He was the medium. Through his fluids, through his energies, they were able to collect a lot of items, even stones coming from other places, also the imprint of the hands. There was a lot of manifestation, physical manifestation that he brought for us to know. So we can search about Chico, we can search about Peixotinho with all his manifestation of the materialism, of the physical manifestation, and we'll be able to learn and understand a little bit more. And we will continue about mediumship, in which there's so many. And Karen now is going to bring to us a different type of mediumship that is important for us to grasp, to learn, and educate ourselves to continue the progress here. Carol?
Thank you, Lu. Thank you, Lou, so much for your help. So right now, dear friends, we are going to address intelligent manifestations. This is a result of the continuation of the studies of as he reported them in the Medium's book, this time on chapter 3. As Luciana presented, at first, Kardec thought that tables would be needed for manifestations, that objects would be needed. But throughout his research, he discovered that only a person that had the ability to connect to another spirit entity, mind to mind, would be needed for the manifestation to take place. And because Kardec realized manifestations could be carried out from a mind-to-mind connection, then he classified these manifestations as intelligent manifestations. In items 69 and 70 of the Medium's book, Kardec reports to us that he was able to see spirit manifestations through mediumship, mind to mind connection by spirit entities that communicated in different languages than the mediums themselves, and that shared content that the mediums were not at all aware of, proving to us that mind-to-mind communication with those who are discarnate are very much possible. So for those of us who may be dealing with discarnation due to the pandemic or due to other circumstances, because after all of us will be called to transition to the spiritual realm. Now, Kardec brings us consolation in the Spirit's book, in the Medium's book, because he shows to us that the mind-to-mind connection between ourselves and those who are free from the physical body continue on. Kardec shows us rationally that life does go on. In item 70 of the Medium's book, chapter 3, Kardec even offers us a case study where he mentions Navy officers in France at the time who evoke the spirit of a deceased captain. And the captain speaks of a debt that everyone had forgotten of. And so all of the participants there were shocked that the spirit was able to manifest so intelligently through mediums that the spirit gave them surprising news. So this is why, dear friends, Spiritism is a promised consoler to us, because now we have actual proof. We can reason our faith and come to understand that our loved ones have not disappeared, and that life does go on to all of us, for all of us. This is why what Vanessa brought to us in the beginning of the meeting is also important, for us to be aware of how we are cultivating our thoughts, co-creating our reality with our thoughts, because we are going to connect with discarnate minds no matter what. And Vanessa explained to us the 4 types of spirits that are most commonly connect us. So let us continue to meditate who we are in company with. And to illustrate mediumship, this connection from mind to mind further, we are going to complement what our dear Luciana brought to us by speaking of another portion or part of the book in the realms of mediumship, in which André Lewis describes how a mediumistic meeting takes place. So let us go there together, dear friends. One moment, please. So we see here, dear friends, that the mediumistic meeting as it is presented here for us happens in an orderly fashion. We see the spirit mentors guiding the communicating entity, and we see that though the communicating entity is experiencing distress, the communicating entity is already being assisted by a loved one that is watching over this entity. And we see that the nurses and therapists from the beyond are already using in a very orderly fashion the communicating spirits or entities that are going to go next. And we see the medium here connected to the entity of superior order that is inspiring her. And we see the sustaining or supporting mediums that are offering of their thoughts and good feelings to sustain the meeting and allow the meeting to be as productive as possible. So now here is a question for us. Because we now know that we very easily connect to spirit entities from mind to mind, we too can be of assistance to those who are suffering. We can be active servants of the Christ. Of course, we can do so in mediumistic meetings. We who are spiritists are blessed to know that we can use our faculties to assist others. We know that this is a great form of charity, and if we are able to engage in this type of meeting, we shall be useful in the eyes of the Christ, because we are offering consolation to those who are suffering much more than we are. But now, during the pandemic, we can still be useful, even if we are not formally in a mediumistic meeting as we see here. We can be the little dot of light, the little flame of hope that can allow the good spirits to treat others who are suffering in both realms through the good vibrations that we are producing. So the question for us here is tonight also, are we being mediums of hope in our day-to-day life? Are we planting seeds of consolation to those around us? We can be mediums of consolation every day by spreading thoughts of hope and the fraternal love towards one another. And we see here that another characteristic that is important for us in mediumistic meetings and in any collaborative work that we do is a sense of harmony, is a sense of trust that we harvest for one another. It's that we keep ourselves balanced mentally, and that we trust one another, and that we have faith in the guidance of the mentors as well. And we see that in mediumistic meetings, dear friends, often more than one entity receives counseling. We see the supporting mediums. We see the ostensible medium here offering of her act of to allow the spirit to communicate, connected to the spirit from mind to mind. And we also see the counselor here. The role of the counselor is to offer a therapeutic moment to the communicating spirit, where he or she may offer consolation to the spirit and may help the spirit move away from the traumatic moment or the mono idea has caused the spirit to experience suffering that seems endless to that spirit at the time. So we have a beautiful teamwork effort. The ostensible medium, the supporting mediums, the counselor, and they are all being guided by loving mentors. We see that the counselor is being supported by a mentor guiding his words, and we see that the supporting mediums are also being sustained by the same current of love. We see that the discarnate spirits that are superior to us do most of the work. But how can we co-create the good with them? By thinking the good, feeling the good, and visualizing the good in harmony as we participate of meetings. But as we know, spirits are always a part of our lives. So as we train ourselves to be the little flame of hope, that little dot of light, spirit may be able to make use of our thoughts and feelings to assist others as well. And we see yet here a third communication, and we see that the medium is even outside of her body momentarily to be able to assist even more in the communication of the suffering entity. And we see that the whole process is guided by superior spirits who not only for a moment leave us unassisted, and they have everything planned and organized and lovingly prepared for us because they think of the good of ourselves as individuals, but mostly of the collective. So if we would like to be charitable, if we would like to learn to serve, one of the ways in which we can do that is by practicing mediumship. But we can practice mediumship every day by being mediums of the good, mediums of hope, mediums of divine light to one another in our everyday life. So let us really allow the invitation from the Christ for us to be mediums of hope to inspire us today and always, dear friends.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Luciana. And now we have a lot of material to go deeper. As we begin our session, the good spirits were asking us to question ourselves about where's mediumship in our lives. If we go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 16, we learn about give freely what we freely have received. So mediumship comes for free, but we need to multiply the talent. We're coming at a time of it's an era of the spirit, inevitably. From now, the more we move forward in time, more and more you and I are going to be invited to educate our mediumship. For parents, it's inevitable. For educators, it will be inevitable. So Spiritism has the safest and the best framework to really lead us into a well-educated mediumship that makes us feel deeply balanced in spite of the obstacles of life. We will be challenged. Chico Xavier's life wasn't easy. It was very complicated. But Peixotinho himself, as Luciana brought to the picture, of Peixotinho, the great medium of physical manifestations, materializations. Chico Xavier was no different because he also was a healing medium. He was a medium of physical manifestations as well. But Peixotinho himself had to do in his family, he was married, he had children. He used to do 3 daughter homes per day in his house to protect himself, to protect the family. Why? Because on earth, minority know of this. Majority are being instruments of what they don't know. Like we used to do, and we still do. We still speak words we don't mean. We still do things we don't want to do. Why? We're not alone. We're not blaming on the spirits, but we're saying we're influenced by them and we influence them as well. So now it's time for us to deepen our knowledge and at the same time to deepen our openness, at least to learn. For those who want to know more about mediumship, Kardec Radio has several programs, but there is one in particular that we've done a few years ago named The Medium's Harvest. It's a book by Emmanuel. It's in the Facebook page, in a playlist named Medium's Harvest, or also in our platform at YouTube Kardec Radio and SoundCloud for those who want to hear only and don't want to listen, don't want to watch. And there you're going to find safe guidelines for mediumship, at least to know mediumship in our lives, so we recognize where spirits are influencing us, not forgetting the 4 types of spirits: the protecting spirits, the familiar spirits, the spirits of affinity, sympathetic spirits, and finally, the obsessors. The obsessors are not the only ones. Sometimes we blame them. They're like, really? I've done nothing. It was your friend who did it. It was your family spirit. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm blamed for everything. Right? It's not fair. But it's about us because none of them play a role if we don't open the door. So that's why we need to pray, watch and pray, as Jesus says. But watch Kardec Radio as well. Watch the good studies, read it, listen to it, because the more we read, the more we study together, the more empowered, better decisions, better life, better reincarnation, great redemption, graduation. So friends, we now invite you for the final prayer. Carlos is here with us. He's going to help us, leading us into a prayer. Right, Carlos? You want to come with mommy? It's a family thing.
Yeah. All right, let's close our eyes and bring our thoughts to the sphere of the good spirits. Dear Master Jesus, we must thank you so very much for these moments of prayer and for these moments of knowledge that bring us so much happiness and so much comfort that bring us this certain thoughts that will take us to the next step. We want to thank all the good spirits that were here with us, helping to maintain the atmosphere of peace and love. May we all have a wonderful, busy weekend working for Jesus, for the good. May we all have also the good thoughts that are necessary to keep us at the level that we need to be to feel these wonderful feelings. And with all your permission, Master Jesus, we finish these moments of beauty and great feelings. And so be it.
Thank you, Carlos. It feels wonderful, right? And we have here, because while we were here, Daisy was with the children. Right, Daisy? Tell us a little bit about the story. What the theme of today, please?
Yes. Talking about mediumship, Vanessa, we study with the children the parable of the talents. So we started last week a new series with the children. We're studying the parables by Jesus, and this week was the parables of the talents. So we discussed how we're giving these gifts from God, as we were discussing just now about mediumship, and how Jesus asked us that we need to multiply those talents. We need to put that into practice, and we need to help others. So we also talked about Chico Xavier, Allan Kardec, and we talk about how they really put their talents into practice, like all of us. And then we watch a video, and then we did an activity with the children where we asked them to think about one talent. We know we all are unique. We all have our unique talents. So we asked them to think about one talent and how can they multiply and how can they put it in practice and help others. And we asked the children and the parents to continue throughout the week practicing it every day, put in practice how can they use the talents that they have.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Daisy,
Thank
for sharing this and for doing that work too. So friends, now, if you have questions, of course you can write to us at kardecradio@gmail.com. We can always be of assistance in this regard. And if you have suggestions as well, we're here. We hope to see you next time when we come back for another Friday Inspirational Talk. We wish you many blessings. Until next Friday, friends. Thank you.